Today, we're talking about how you get doors to open that you couldn't get to open before. This is not social media like you know it. It's not a tool to spam people with what we can get from them. It's a real way to replicate what we do in real life, how we initiate and deepen relationships, and then see how we can add value to one another. Hello, I'm Elle Hill, CEO and founder of Hill&Co, fine jewelry launch and growth experts that serve the diamond gemstone and jewelry industry. And today we're here to talk about LinkedIn. And I've asked a few of the people that I know in the audience to please let me know if I'm going too fast. I'm extremely excited about this tool that so many people don't know how to leverage. So I get pretty excited and I start going quicker. So please feel free to give me the slow down, girl, because we want to take this in. And the reason why I want to go slow is not because I don't think you guys are whip smart, because you guys are in here. But I believe that it's largely misunderstood how we leverage LinkedIn. It's not a tool to spam people with what we can get from them in order for them to buy from us. It's a real way to replicate what we do in real life, how we initiate and deepen relationships, and then see how we can add value to one another. So I'm super excited to be talking to you about this, especially because at the end of the pandemic in 2019, I personally started learning about this and developing this proprietary process and standard operating procedure that I use for my own business and that we've used for client after client after client after client, and watched them get the doors to open that they couldn't understand why were not opening before. And in those 2 years, we went from a few hundred followers to now 10,000 as of last week. And that helps, not because followers are important, but for other reasons that I will explain in a moment. So, first, we have to educate everyone a little bit when we're teaching people why we want them to use this huge lever that most people aren't pulling. Most people, when they first were introduced to LinkedIn, said, oh, so if I ever want a job, that's where I put my resume, right? It's a CV. I just go on there and I say, I've done this and I've done that and I have been able to do this and you maybe want to hire me. And that's not what it's for anymore. Yes, the human resources industry will say we use it to death. And of course they do. But the way that we are going to use LinkedIn is going to be around these statistics that I'm not going to read to you words that are on a slide, guys. So please go ahead and read through that. There are countless statistics. I had to just pick a few here. And don't worry, you can email me and I will give you the whole presentation and a further line-by-line bullet point, step-by-step, 1, 2, 3. Afterwards, there'll be a QR code at the end and my email address and my business cards are at the back as well. So the proof is in the pudding. Leveraging LinkedIn to initiate and deepen relationships with the B2B business buyers that you want to buy your product or service works. And the most successful people, whether it's in business sales or in a service proposition, the most successful teams and individual people that want to initiate a relationship with a buyer or seller of their goods use LinkedIn. But first you have to ask yourself, okay, what are my goals on LinkedIn? Today we're talking about how you get doors to open that you couldn't get to open before by developing a relationship digitally first and then moving it offline. So this is the specific usage of LinkedIn that I'm teaching you guys how to do step by step today. So your goal is to use LinkedIn like the virtual trade show or conference of today that's available to you 24/7, 7 days a week, and that your potential buyers, B2B business decision makers, are looking at on Saturday night while they're bored at a rugby game or a baseball game. I'm in America right now. This is where your goal is to find the people that you want to learn more about, to understand if you are suitable to help them and how you can help them, and then bring that relationship offline. This is your goal, not to get a job, not to spam people, but to learn and to find out more and initiate a connection with the people that you want to know. So in order to see where this fits in, I'm going to give you a little bit of context. Any buyer, whether it's a jewelry, how many people in here are B2B? You do business with businesses. The majority. How many people in here are designers? Okay, great. How many, so there might be manufacturers, there might be retailers, okay. How many people in here are retailers? Got it, okay, they want you on there. Okay, great, and you want to be on there too. Okay, so the buying journey is the same everywhere, and it has basically 5 components. And I'm going to walk through those components, particularly because I want to impress upon you how 60 to 80% of every buying journey is happening online or is being initiated online for sure, right? So the steps are like this. Let's lean into B2B here because LinkedIn is primarily a B2B platform. This system that I'm teaching you today has slight variations because all the algorithms on different social media platforms behave a little bit differently and reward a little bit different behavior. But there is a version of this for Instagram, there is a version of this for Twitter, there is a version of this for TikTok, okay? But today we're talking about LinkedIn. The first thing your buyer says is, oh wow, look at my sales from last year. Color, Centrostone engagement rings are on fire. Who does that? I have an idea, I need something. And they start looking around for who's gonna solve this problem for me or create the opportunity that I want, right? They start searching online for information about who could do this for them. Maybe they looked on LinkedIn. Maybe they go to all the exhibitors at a recent trade show because it's not the day of a trade show, right? They can't just walk up and down the aisles. Maybe they ask their friends, right? They're DMing them on Instagram or they're sending a WhatsApp note or WeChat or iMessage and text, right? Once they get all the information they need, they make a decision. So far, it's been the majority of this action is happening online, right? At a desk, on their mobile phone. Then they are going to reach out or go into a store or reach out to the designer or reach out to that B2B service provider and say, I'm interested. I'm going to collect a little bit more information and then, yep, you know what, you're the right person, I'm going to buy from you. That's the next step. Once they buy, then they got to receive, right? Here's where maybe you even had an in-person meeting at this point, but maybe you just had a Zoom because we're all on Zoom, right? And then you receive the product. Maybe you're getting consulting calls. Maybe you're receiving your order, right? And that is your opportunity to delight them, to give them the service level and the quality that they desire. This is one of your in real life, IRL, tangible moments along the buying journey. And with some of you, it may be the first time they ever touch anything, feel anything in person, like rather than just on a screen and online, right? Then, hopefully, if you've done all that right, they're going to recommend. And then the cycle begins again, right? So this is the buying journey of any buyer, any customer to a retail store, and business to business buyers have the same journey. Am I going slow enough? Am I going fast? Too fast? Business to business buyers have the same journey, but it's a hell of a lot more complicated. And there's a whole lot more of them. And you have to convince all of them because the sustainability lead wants to know whether you're following best practices. The marketing person wants to know, do they have a good Instagram following? Will that help us? And the buyer wants to know, well, how's the sell-through on the other stuff they gave us and was there quality crap or not? So you've got a bunch of people to influence, right? And many of those people you may never meet, but they're part of that B2B buying decision-making group. And most of them, well, the majority of them, are online. And they're on Instagram, and they're on LinkedIn maybe too. This journey is not as linear as I made it. I kind of said, oh, look like one step, two step, three. All we have to do is stand in front of them when they're going along that journey right now. Because they're going all over the place, and they're going back and forth too. I got information, but wait, I had another idea. Now I want to talk to my friend. Look at this, guys, and you'll look at it more when you get the PDF afterwards. I hope you do send me an email, and we'll get you all the much more in-depth one that says everything that I'm talking about, not just this. But it's a very complicated journey, and many, many of the steps, even if you look over it today, even if you look over it right now, you'll see that many of the steps on there are online. Because most of the time, you're not talking to people in a meeting or you're not calling them. All of these things are happening long before they ever pick up the phone and call you or ever return your email. So we've established that online is 60 to 80% of how you're going to introduce and capture people, right, and interact with them. So is LinkedIn and social media the only way that you're going to be interacting with people? Like, how many people in this room have a website? Okay, that's so much better than 3 years ago, and we know why. That website, I do this with my hand. Jennifer's going to know that this is always what I do. This is my Doug. This is my little iconograph here. Your website is kind of the center of your world, and sometimes your social is too, if you're doing transactable on Instagram, etc. And your job is to drive people to your website, right? But your website is a store in a corner on a cloud that nobody walks by. So you've got to find out where they spend time online and get in front of them, and then give value that makes them go, okay, I want to go closer. I want to look at some other things. So there's many other components. I don't want to tell you a lie. There is no silver bullet. You have to use every single tool simultaneously, little and often, in order to achieve what I'm talking about today. So you just do everything I teach you to do today on LinkedIn, and you will fail inside of your comfort zone. So you have to make sure that you have a completely thorough digital marketing strategy, and in particular today we're talking about account-based marketing, because we're in B2B. We know who we want to do business with. We have a big advantage over B2C, where Nike's got to market to the entire world because they all might buy sneakers, right? So you're going to use lots of other tools in addition to what we talk about today. You're going to use search engine optimization. So when they're at that information stage, you're going to make sure that you show up, hopefully in the SERPs on the results page 1 at the top, if you can. You're going to use your content to make sure that you're always talking about how you might be able to supply an opportunity for your target buyer or create a solution to a problem that they have. So your content's always going to speak about you, them, what they want, how you can help deliver it for them. You're going to use email marketing. This is a 20% plus engagement rate place, where on Instagram you're looking at 0.06%. So social is not everything. I'm here to tell you I'm not insane, but I believe and I know, because we've done it again and again and again since 2019, that B2B businesses need to be leveraging social as well, which is why we're talking about that too. Super important is your analytics as well, especially on social too, and that's often neglected. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. Analytics is the equivalent of listening to your potential buyers. It's the equivalent of watching what display case their eyes go to when buyers walk past your booth, right? So if you all have a website here, and how many people review their analytics once per week? Oh boy, you guys, apple from the teacher. Once a month? Maybe never, we're just a brochure? Maybe, no, good, none of those. Okay, because if you are just communicating out, whether it's on social media or on your website, you are a billboard. You are a dusty old cough from 1978, or whenever the internet came out, right? So analytics is how you listen and how you see what pages do they go to, what buttons do they click. Are they spending time on the sustainability page, or are they looking at my quality control, because that's their problem that they're trying to solve. So analytics are everything, okay? And social media, which we're talking about today, and we're going to go into that a little bit more. And then once you've leveraged everything you can out of owned and earned spaces online, your digital marketing strategy is probably also going to go to paid, right? Paid, owned, and earned. Those are your 3 buckets to use. LinkedIn is largely free, right? So it's largely an owned space. Okay, so all those components are going to work together in order to capture people during that 60 to 80% of the people that are going to find you online, right? There's a lot more detail in what I just glossed over there. This will be in the takeaway that you guys can email me. I'm happy to give to you, but there's a lot more detail in there. This is just one component. I'm here to, do my good duty of care and tell you it's just one component of your digital marketing strategy that your sales team or your client account managers should definitely be using because it's more powerful than any phone call or email. Okay? A few more statistics about how important it is, just so that you don't have to believe me. Forbes, McKinsey, Bain & Company, every report is going to give you these types of statistics that tell you these tools are super valuable. And if you're not using them properly, or if you're just messaging out on them, you're leaving money on the table. Okay, so we're going to talk about LinkedIn. Now, I just got to the first thing we're going to talk about. I'm doing okay. So, LinkedIn. This is the, let's use an analogy today, because we've all been to trade shows and we've been to conferences where there are booths or talks that are happening, right? So, let's use this analogy of LinkedIn as the virtual trade show or conference of today. And it's the trade show or conference that you can go to on a Friday night at midnight. Your buyer can be looking at it on their phone in the bath. It is always available to you. So let's think of it as a trade show. Now, the first thing you do when you spend tens of thousands of dollars to get that booth at the trade show is you decorate the booth, right? But maybe before, and I hope the men and the ladies will both appreciate this, you pack your bag to go to the show, right? You pack your clothes, you go, maybe if I wear those red trousers, I'll get more people watching. You think about how you're gonna present yourself. So, on LinkedIn, that is your personal profile and your corporate page, okay? There's a few hugely important things that I'm gonna go through before we get to the step-by-step. There are two types of profiles on LinkedIn. There's your corporate page. How many people have a corporate page on LinkedIn? Nice, okay. And there's personal profiles. How many of us have personal profiles? Great, a lot more personal profiles than corporate pages. A huge mistake that over the last 4 years we've identified with all of the different clients that we work with on this strategy and standard operating procedure is that they think their corporate page is what's most important. Well, that's my business. That's like my website. That's super important. It's not. It is important in that it must be there. It must look like your brand. It must look like your building, your business card, your color, your fonts. You must be consistent in the way you present yourself and your brand across all digital touch points. Because especially in the last 2.5 years, and when we're talking about that 60% to 80% of time people are discovering you online, you don't have look, touch, and feel. You have know, like, and trust. And the way that you develop that is with consistency. Oh, she's got that necklace. Oh, yeah, her company has that necklace. Oh, yeah, her CEO, COO has that necklace. This is consistency, and that's how people trust. You show up on time, you do the same thing every time, same colors, same fonts, same words, same language. So your corporate page has to be there, and you do need to be posting on your corporate page. But why is it not really as important? Because people do business with people. They're not going to send a message to your corporate page. Maybe they are if they're using LinkedIn in a dusty old cough sort of way and they think that that will somehow help ingratiate themselves to you. But it's not going to, because there's usually a marketing manager or maybe no one paying attention to it, and the only thing that's going up there is Happy Diwali and Happy Mother's Day and maybe some value for the person that is reading it. The corporate page must be there. It must be on point, on brand, but it's not where you're going to leverage this standard operating procedure, this account-based marketing tactic from. You're going to be leveraging this tactic from your personal profile. Because why? Because people want to know Tammy. People want to know you. And people want to know not just, hi, I'm a business management consultant, want to hire my firm? Hi, I'm a business management consultant, want to hire my firm? No, hi, I make jewelry, I manufacture silver, you want to buy some? That's not what people want. That's the guy at the party you don't want to be near, right? You want the one who says, I like that white shirt, you're looking kind of casual, my husband's bald too, and ask about them, right? So they want that person who on their personal profile is letting their personality show, and is asking questions, adding value.
Hi, Elle Hill here. Do you want to learn how to get on the phone with any buyer that you want to work with without an introduction or a referral? Click to get the downloadable that we've made for you that you can start using right away and will be really useful for your business and growing your revenue.
But back to the analogy, your personal profile is you deciding, how am I going to get dressed for the show? There's a few key components, and I could do a whole hour on this, but I'm going to whiz through it, and I'm still going at a good pace, yeah? Okay, I'm going to whiz through it. Eyes on the camera, face as big as it can be, because this is how people see you, and they start knowing that you're welcoming and you're friendly, your teeth are showing, right? You're smiling, you want to get to know them, you're inviting, you're welcoming. It is not you with sunglasses on, it is not a sunset, it's not a picture of your baby or your dog, it's you. Professional, you, just like you normally dress in real life and just like you normally look, okay? Underneath your name, you have an opportunity to say how you solve a problem for your potential client or how you create an opportunity for them. That's what they want to know. If you don't do one of those two things, they're not there to hear how you need another customer. They're there to say, do they help me with this info and idea that I'm trying to collect to solve a problem or create an opportunity for my business? So use those lines not to say, I was the corporate VP of De Beers back in 1986. No one cares. They want to know, what can you do for my business, right? Use those lines to say, who do you help? How do you help them? Get specific. Tell them exactly the size and type of companies that you work with. Let them know they're in the right place. Okay. Now, I just use this to say every major brand is consistent. Every single one of you, individuals, is a personal brand. I will never forget those tortoiseshell frames. That's fantastic. The blonde in the front, and the red bag, everything. The red pants may go down in history now, right? So people respond to you revealing and being uniquely you because nobody's better at it than you, right? But make sure that your personal brand is consistent, right? So I'll talk more about why this is super important, but this is the know, like, trust that you're creating on these profiles. So your corporate profile and every client-facing individual on your team has to have the same banner. It has to be on message. It has to talk to their clients, and you need to make sure that these are all aligned. This is not where you speak with grandma and put pictures of your babies. This is not social media like you know it. And we've had many, many clients who went, oh, I don't want to do that. That's my personal profile. But we all take ourselves from job to job and company to company, and the banner may change, but you won't. Awesome people are awesome everywhere. Right? So you're not going to be fake because you can smell inauthenticity from miles away. You are at that company because you believe in them. So support them, have the right banner, have the right messaging, have the same goals. Now you're at the show. You got your red pants on, you got your sporty green shirt on, and you got to set up your booth, right? I'm going to keep going with this analogy, all right? Your booth needs to be decorated. Right? Some people go to great lengths, right? Remember the old days of Basel with 3 stories high Rolex booths. But some people put beautiful wallpaper, some plants, and they pick the displays. They pick their sustainable, bamboo displays, or they put flowers, and it's all on brand. It has to do with the most recent campaign or the most recent product or service that you've launched. This is how you decorate your booth. So on LinkedIn, the way that you decorate your booth is by what you post in your feed, okay? So should anyone go to your profile page, and we'll talk about that later, they can scroll through and get a real good understanding of what kind of value you provide, what kind of opportunities you create, and what kind of person you are, really. But this is the single, probably most intimidating part. What do I post, right? And when? I got a whole friggin' job. When am I gonna do this, right? Well, let me tell you, the rest of your whole friggin' job is gonna be easier if you do this right, if you identify all the steps in this standard operating procedure and execute them properly. So what do you post? It's systematic. It's a standard operating procedure. It may look effortless, and it probably will, but you will set it up, and you will, if you are beginning this for the first time. How many people post on LinkedIn on their personal profiles on a regular basis? Nice, that's more than I thought was gonna, nice, lovely to have you, preaching to the choir. There are basically I think I have five up here, 5 different types of posts that you wanna cycle through so that you're offering to your community of followers and potential buyers information that is valuable to them and the ability to trust and evaluate the type of person you are, okay? So pure engagement posts. On LinkedIn, you see there's an ability to put up a poll. Even if you don't put up a poll, you can ask questions. Who's going to the conclave? I'm going to be talking there. I'd like to see you. I get answers from people, and I really look forward to meeting them. And then there's an opportunity to compare. Do we have value to add to you? Do you have value to add to me? I have opportunities I want too. Engagement posts is asking for people to give you an answer. Authority posts. You have opinions about things. Do not waver. Do not try to be everything to everyone. Your opinions matter, and people will align themselves with you because they agree, or they're interested and curious, and you have the confidence to display it. So be authoritative about what's happening in the industry and about your opinion about it. We've all seen that silence doesn't help, right? You want to speak. Value, add value. I've learned something that can help you. Every single post I write, I think, who is this for? Okay, I'm going to use myself so we don't reveal any information about some of our illustrious clients, many of whom you know. Value. Every single post I write, and I write every single one of my posts myself, and I post 4 times a day. We used to post 6. We'll get into that later because everybody freaks out when I say that. Don't worry, you don't have to. Everybody's different. Every business has a different goal. But value is saying, okay, I learned this thing about like B2B manufacturers out of India and how they're approaching Western buyers, and it's annoying the heck out of them. Let me share how they really should begin talking to a buyer because they want to break into the US market. Let me give away everything I know. Early in my career, I was told, don't do stuff like this. Your company charges for it. I'm like, no. People buy my company to save time. You guys can all do this. You don't need me. I'm going to tell you how, and please God, go away and do it, and then tell me how it goes. Add value at all times. Think about every single post that I write, I'm thinking, who's reading this? Is it a designer? Is it a retailer? Is it someone who has a product or a service that they're offering, a sustainability member of AGS, which we became this past couple of months? And then testimonials. Collect. You have good relationships with your clients. Say, write down something they said. Send it to them and say, you said this and I loved it. Can I use it as a testimonial? Or you can change it. But make it easy for them. Don't ask them to write you a testimonial. Everyone's like, oh, blank page, I can't start. Tell them what you want them to say. Say, can I say it or not? They'll edit it. And get a bank of testimonials. That's going to be one of your 5 posts every week. Because I'm going to challenge you to start with a post a day, but you can start with Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You're not going to get a ton out of once a week, but you will still see the KPIs going in the right direction. So choose your comfort zone, plan your first 30 days. We'll go into it in more detail in a moment, and be consistent, okay? So value, adding value using testimonials, and behind the scenes. This is the one where everybody gets the heebie-jeebies. A picture of you and your husband on your 19th wedding anniversary will get 16,000 views, and your smartest post on the position of the Ukraine war will not. Your smartest post on which KPIs to convert, to make more, watch to make more conversions in your digital marketing will not. People want to know who are the people behind the thoughts and the ideas and the brains. I used to think, I gotta sound smart, I gotta be professional. And the minute people can see behind the curtain, they go, she's real, he's real, I can trust him. He's showing me his son's birthday cake. He's showing me that view of a sunset that just really made his shoulders drop from his ears. I can relate to this person. This might be a quote that really, you are enough. That's our corporate motto for every client we have and every expert on my team. You are enough. Put those quotes up there. Reveal the things that motivate you. And that will also help people identify that you are someone with whom they want to align. My timer didn't work, so I don't know how far I'm in. I hope I'm on time. So those are the 5 types of posts. And again, we could have an hour-long talk on that, I know, but I'm happy to chat with anybody all week long. The important thing about posting, and I don't know if it will just take me back here for a second, this is the way you decorate your booth, right? So now you've got these posts. Every day there's a post coming up. Keep in mind that only 10%, maybe more, of your following is actually ever going to see them. So don't worry about am I posting too much? It's like I always say about people who go to the gym and say, I don't want to get too muscly. It's not going to happen by accident. It's not going to happen by accident. You've got to work to be seen as often as you want to be seen. So that post today, only 10%. So if you got 100 followers, you got 1,000, you got 10,000, maybe 1,000 people are saying, you know what I'm saying? So and it's got to be delivered at the moment that they were on. Don't worry about posting too much. We have had the amount of education that I have to do when people go, oh no, someone told me you should only post once a week, otherwise it looks like you're desperate. And I'm like, do you know how algorithms work? Don't worry. You cannot post enough, and when you are posting too much, your KPIs will tell you, and then you can back off. And I'm going to talk to you about how to watch that as well. So these posts are decorating your booth. So far, has anyone placed a purchase order inside that booth? Not yet, right? This is just decoration. This is where most people stop. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm posting once a day, But business isn't coming my way. I don't know what's going on. And the problem is all you've done is decorate the booth. Where the purchase orders happen, where the client consulting agreements are signed, where the manufacturing vendor numbers are given out, is in the room where it happens, right? In the conversations inside of the booth. And the conversations inside of the booth are the messages, the comments, the interactions, the engagement. They call it engagement. I'm going to change to water number 2. I love this topic, as I'm sure you can see. So when you launch a post, the first hour is called the golden hour. Does anyone know the golden hour on LinkedIn? LinkedIn monitors those first 60 minutes. The algorithm says, how many people are engaging with this? How many people viewed it? How many people liked it? Click. How many people actually stopped and put their fingertips on a keyboard and wrote some words, a comment, much more valuable engagement? And based on that first hour, the algorithm goes, we'll push it out a little further. A lot of people really like this one. Or they go, that's a bit of a dud, and they suppress it. So that first hour after you post every day, super important. So get your notifications on your phone. You gotta get back to work. You got work to do, right? But keep your notifications live, so that if somebody pings, you answer them. Every single person that comments, no matter if it's foolish, no matter if it's not for you, you answer them honestly and with integrity, and you answer them. Did you have a question?
Do you have data on inside of the day you post, what's the best time?
Yes, and it depends on what industry you are in and what audience you're trying to target, but let's chat about it a little bit more specifically afterwards, and I'll be happy to tell you. Okay, so that first hour is everything. So have your notifications on. Some of us have bigger businesses. Maybe we have social media managers. But let's just talk about this like it's you. It's your personal brand. I did this by myself, posting 6 times a day for months before I started engaging other people to support me, because I think you should do everything first to make sure that you know how to do it right? So The engagement is everything. That is where the business happens, is in the conversations. And the comments on the post is the first lower level type of engagement that you begin. I've made good friends online. I met my business partner online and never met her in person for a year and a half because of comments and engagement, right? So engagement is super important, and that first hour is everything. So whether it's you or someone else, make sure the notifications are on and make sure you answer everyone. Tip of the day, tag them in your response. So even if they get the LinkedIn notification, it's a double down on making sure they're alerted that someone has @PhilBozen on LinkedIn, and they will see that you have responded to them, right? First hour is everything. Now, just like any digital marketing strategy and execution plan, there are procedures and there are key indicators that it's working. Long before we start getting the revenue rolling in the door, we have to know that we're going in the right direction, because we all know, at least I think everybody knows, for digital advertising, you need a couple weeks for the machine to learn, Jennifer Shaheen, you need a couple of weeks for the human beings to learn and then optimize, and then you're gonna start seeing some conversions along to purchase, maybe in a couple months, right? But you need to know, am I going in the right direction? So this account-based marketing technique on LinkedIn has key performance indicators. And if you could tell me how far along I am, and let me know how much time do I have left. Don't know? Does anyone know how much? Great, so we're halfway through. Okay, we're on target. So we're gonna look at the key performance indicators and how you measure them at the end, but one of the first things I want you to start with is look at how many followers you have today. I told you about our 30-month journey from 200 to 10,000 followers, right? Look at how many followers you have today and make a note of it. I don't care if you use more sophisticated analytics like Shield, which I will talk about a little bit more, but keep track, because if you're not measuring, you're not marketing. And if you don't treat this like any other standard operating procedure, little and often wins the race, you will say, yeah, LinkedIn doesn't really work. Okay? So followers is one of the first things that you're going to focus on. Now, people are served up your content based on if they're following you or not, and then their followers, and so on, like the Suave commercials from the 80s, right? So your followers are important. So when you do, if you're initiating your profile or bringing it up to speed after you have pay attention to this seminar, one of the first things you want to do is allow LinkedIn to go through your contacts and add everyone that's in your contacts. Those are people you already know. You want to up your followers because you get more reach and you have more opportunity for people to see whether you add value to them, and there's some win-win there, right? You want to have a lot of followers, but that is not the goal. There's a different goal for Instagram, and we could talk about that in another seminar, but followers are important. They are validation, but more importantly, they increase your reach to your potential and desired audience, right? So add everybody in your contacts, number one. Number two, you know who you want to do business with, right? So reach out to them as well. Now, if you don't know someone, don't just send them a note and say, hi, I want to follow you, or I happened to cross your profile. Like, that doesn't make me feel very special. Didn't you look for me? You know, so don't just reach out to them. Follow them. You have the follow option on LinkedIn. And have your notifications on. I'm going to talk about Sales Navigator as a way for a couple hundred, 300 a year, I think it is right now, to be able to be notified when the people who you want to initiate a relationship with have posted, so that you can comment on their posts. That sentence is everything. That is where the juice is worth the squeeze. Everything I talked about up until now is the decoration of the booth, it's making sure I'm dressed right, my shoes are polished, my nails are done, I've got business cards, everybody's got that stuff. But where you shine is when I say, oh, Doug, I saw that picture of you and your wife, and oh, what a great long marriage, you know, congratulations. And Doug goes, oh, Elle commented, and he sees my face, eyes forward, professional, you know, and he knows that I took time to comment on. That's when someone who I did not think was an ideal client of ours said, oh, I love that cake you baked for your 10-year-old son. And I thought, maybe I'll take the call. That's how it works. So where the juice is worth the squeeze, you gotta have all the other stuff that I've talked about for 25 minutes set up. Otherwise, it doesn't matter. You comment on them, they go back to your profile, and you've got the LinkedIn generic banner, and they're like, is that how they're gonna treat me as their client? Is that the level of specificity and professionalism and consistency that I'm gonna get? Yeah, maybe not, right? So all the other stuff has to be right, and it's important. But where the juice is worth the squeeze is commenting on other people's posts. And you're gonna do that 2 or 3 times before you then go to their profile and click follow and click further to connect, right? Because you want to have interacted with them first. Otherwise, you're the guy at a party saying, wanna buy a watch, wanna buy a watch, wanna buy a watch. No one wants you. So make sure you comment and you interact with them first. This is good best practices. This isn't gaming people. This is trying to find out really where is there a win and a win? Where can you add value? We tell all our clients, you can leave anytime, 30 days notice, no contract, because we want to be valuable. And if we're not, we don't want to be with you anyway, right? So that's what we're all trying to do here. So always never do this on your mobile phone, because you will not be given the option to add a note. You must do this on your desktop. Do not do it on their face or their profile off to the side. Go directly to Philip Bosen's profile page and find the connect button, and then you will be offered the option to add a note. Always add a note, right? It's just like someone gives you a gift, you always send a thank you note if they weren't present, right? Always add a note. It's your number one opportunity after you've done a few comments on one of their posts, a few of their posts, for you to introduce yourself. And the first thing you're gonna do is say, I love that post about your son's birthday cake. I'd love to connect with you here. And you are gonna ask for nothing, because that's not what we do. Anybody sends us a note and says, hey, we'd love to help you with your digital marketing, I delete, block. You don't know how to use it. You don't know how to do service. You're spamming. You're not doing your homework. I've already devalued how effective you're going to be for me. And that's what they're going to do to you too. If you think spamming people to get followers is good, hey, we sent out 5,000 requests. We got 2,000. They don't even know who the hell they are. They're not happy that you talk about their great wedding or anniversary or birthday cake or that fabulous bit of data that you gave them about sustainable mining. So this is where the juice meets the squeeze. Another place to add your followers is your profile views, right? On your page, there's limited analytics, unlike Instagram, on LinkedIn. But you have something really helpful here, which is profile views. Discover who's viewed your profile. Now, I highly recommend get the premium level so you get as much information as possible. If you just have a generic level, that's fine, but you're not going to have more insights. Once I see that Doug looked at my profile 3 times, I'm going to go, maybe I'll ask him if I can speak at AGS next year. He still has pull. Or at AGTA next year, he still has pull, right? So we want to go through that every week and take a look at the people that looked last week, because you don't want to be like, you were there 5 minutes ago, do you want to be my follower? Nobody likes that person either, right? But every week, just like you schedule every other standard operating procedure in your business, look at the profile views, 15 minutes on a Friday, send a message to each of them. Thank you for checking out my profile. I'd love to connect here too. Ask them for nothing. This is not the way it works in business. We all know those of us who do it right. So this is another way to increase your followers, right? And as you increase your followers, that's going to help you increase your reach. It is the lowest level of importance in terms of KPIs in my mind and in the system that we implement over and over again. You all know who you want to do business with. That's the luxury of B2B, right? So what you do want to do is make sure that that buyer or that sustainability manager or that marketing manager, because we all need to convince a whole group of people, right? There's never just one decision maker. Someone's got to green light the money. So there's maybe a finance person, a sustainability person, marketing person, the buyer, the product development manager, right? Head of brands. There's a bunch of people that you want to do business with. So what you focus on grows. on LinkedIn, right? You need to decide who you want to do business with. I picked a random company here, right? You need to decide and you know already who you want to do business with, probably. And go to their profile page and look specifically at that yellow highlighted part, which says, see all employees on LinkedIn, okay? And then when you click through to there, you're going to get a long list of everybody who works at that company who has an active profile on LinkedIn. And you're going to focus a little more, dig a little deeper. You're going to go to all filters, and you're going to put in various titles, right? Do you want the head of brands? Do you want the chief finance officer? Do you want the marketing officer? Do you want the buyer? Practice, mess around. Sometimes it's buyer, sometimes it's merchant, sometimes play with all the names and see who you get up and see who you want to follow, right? You can follow people without ever drawing any attention to yourself, and it is not spammy and it's not gross and it doesn't cast you in a bad light. Follow them. Why? Because you want to comment on their posts. That is the golden egg, right? You want to pay attention to them so that you can learn about them, so that you can understand if you add value to them or not. Because otherwise you're wasting their time and then you're damaging your reputation, right? So hunt them down and follow them. And play around with that title page, like I said, about it could be chief merchandising officer, it could be head buyer, it could be, so play around with words like chief, head, VP. Know the level that you're looking for. You know already, right? So do this homework to create a long list of what we call your ABM list, your account-based marketing list. This is not a game. This is not playing around on social media. But we hope that when they're playing around on social media while they're watching their son's baseball game, they're going to see that you commented on that infographic that they saw from a McKinsey report, and you're, right? Okay. LinkedIn Sales Navigator. How much time do I have left? 10 minutes. Okay. I want to leave time for questions because I think there might be some. Will there be questions? Yeah, 10 minutes, Doug. Thank you. LinkedIn Sales Navigator. So it's a higher level of service. I think it costs £250 a year, which is something like $300 a month. A year. Chump chickadee change for what it does for you. Because what you can do over there is to create a lead list, right? So all those names that you found, or your assistant found, or your social media manager found, once you gave them, or you sit and do it yourself, all those names can be loaded into your Sales Navigator lead list so that every single time they post, you get an alert, right? And it stays in one place, and every morning when you come in, you can comment on every single one of their posts. And what you will also learn is, are they active? Is everyone on LinkedIn posting their heart out? No. You will identify, LinkedIn is going to do nothing at all for me to get into that business because I couldn't find any employees on there. And the ones that are on there never post. But you know what that means? You'll never get a ding. You'll never waste any time. It doesn't matter. And you'll know, okay, where are they? Are they on Instagram? Are they on Facebook? Are they on TikTok? Do I need to make sure that I'm emailing them or that they're on my email newsletter? Then you go to the next suspect. LinkedIn is not a silver bullet. Nothing is. We've said that a million times, right? But you're going to learn exactly where your account-based marketing list, those target buyers and buying decision-making groups, the individual human beings, where they spend their time, where they're active. That's important. That's like showing up at the right trade show, right? You need to know what platforms they're using. Sales Navigator will not only tell you, but they'll give you an alert every time, and they'll keep a list of their posts that you can just sit in Sales Navigator and answer. You don't have to hope that you find them in your feed. You don't have to go to their profile and look through their feed and see if you, can find one of their posts to comment on. It makes it super, super simple. It's like a gift from the LinkedIn gods. Even though they're real stingy about data on their algorithm, we love Sales Navigator, and I highly recommend it because anything that saves you time saves you money. And I hope that I've done a good job with only 8 minutes left to convince you that this is a powerful tool to initiate and deepen relationships online. You got a buyer that you've been working with for 10 years and you found out, because you went through all the steps we've been through already, that they're on there and they're posting all the time. You know what? You're going to be able to show up all the time, 24/7. You have access to them, right? They're going through 60 to 80% of the buying journey, not thinking about you, but maybe they'll think about you more if you're on LinkedIn with them, where they're spending time, okay? So LinkedIn Sales Navigator, hugely supportive tool. There are ways to replicate this on other social media platforms like ghost accounts on Instagram. It's another seminar. We're not going to talk about that today. By the way, all I do is launch and grow businesses and help other people to do it. I'm so passionate about this, not because I run a marketing company, but because people do business with people. And 60 to 80% of the time, we meet them online. So I would be remiss if I was running my business and didn't teach every single person on my team, and they do it, that you post once a day. You make sure, here's the banner that you put it. This is how we do business today. You're doing business in 1982 if you're not doing this, right? Okay, LinkedIn Sales Navigator. So, super important. If you are not measuring, you are not marketing. Now, when I say marketing, I feel like I have to say to people, marketing and sales, the lines are extremely blurred because of the way we are all individuals doing business for a certain company at a period of time, but we are developing our own personal brands, as you can see from everything that I've gone through so far, right? So if you are not measuring, you are not marketing. So the key performance indicators that you're watching as you start this process, because if you start it for a week or two, you will see an immediate sharp increase in your followers. It happens every single time. We've done it again and again and again for 3.5 years running. You will see an increase in your followers. We don't care. It's a vanity metric. It's necessary. We want the reach, but it's not the top priority. You will immediately see that. Next to every single one of your posts, you will see post views. You want to keep track of this. Do people like to see your son and his birthday cake? Do they like to see an infographic that you found on McKinsey's most recent report? Do they want to see testimonials that say how valuable you were to your existing clients or former clients? You get a read on that, and that's how you optimize. Optimized is a fancy word to say do better, right? Know what people value from you and give them more of it. So you want to look at those post views. That's nice if they viewed it. They're actually impressions. So if they scroll by relatively slowly, you get a post view. So don't get too full of yourself with the 16,000 views, is all I'm saying. Engagements, however, are much more important because that's in the room where it happens, right? That's where the talk happens, that's where the business happens. Engagements are super important, and they have levels of importance, right? Because if someone clicks a button, that's nice, but they're gonna keep on scrolling. If they take their fingers and put them on the keyboard or their thumbs on the screen and actually write you a comment, that's a more valuable, more not buying signal, friendship signal, engagement signal than just clicking like or applause or, that's interesting, right? Then the mother, the Mecca that we watch. I watch this more than anything else. Well, no, that's not true. It is direct messages. Profile views, that's a big one. They're scrolling, they're just like entertaining themselves for 5 minutes and they click on your face and go look at your profile. They left the feed and they're gonna have to press the back button to go back. That indicates that, wait, who is this girl? What is she talking about? And I had a problem in that, maybe they can help him. I didn't really understand what her company did. That is super important. That's why you go back to your profile views once a week and you invite them, because they got off the feed to take a closer look at you. And then direct messages. I'm gonna need a whole other 45 minutes to talk about what you do to then take this online relationship that you have initiated and deepen it further. We've talked a little bit about it, and bring it offline. Because nothing is 100% online. All the fear about online back in the day is like baloney. And even with COVID, we see how much we all raced back and felt so happy, so happy to be back and see people that we haven't seen for 3 years, right? Omnichannel is a dusty old cough of a word. It is everywhere. You have to learn where your buyers are and show up where they are in the way that they want to consume you, no matter where it is, online, offline, TikTok, Twitter, The direct message is them saying, hey, I'd like to learn more about that, or I love that post, or who knows what they say. But that is, you have succeeded in initiating a relationship, and now your job is to deepen it. Maybe they're saying, wow, it sounds like maybe, what does your company do exactly? Maybe you could help us. That's just what people say to me a lot. And then we say, I'd love to talk about this further. Pop in your email address here and get them off LinkedIn, because you're done with them over there. You are going to deepen the relationship. Thank you. You're going to deepen the relationship. I'm going to leave minutes for questions. You're going to deepen the relationship. I bought a very expensive handbag. I want to see that Prada advertisement looking really good this year, even though I bought that last year, to go, yeah, I bought the right bag. Yeah, right? You're going to keep reassuring your buyers, you're with the best. That's what I do every day with the 4 posts that we post every day that I write. So the direct messages are the holy mecca. That's the major KPI. These are your key performance indicators, and you have to track them. It sounds like a bitch of a job. We used to do it. We used to post everything manually. There are sendable, you name it. There's any one of a number of software service providers that you can make your 5 posts a week, 20 posts a month, put aside half a day every single month, and make those 20 posts, load them all into the scheduler, turn on notifications, and you're done. It doesn't have to be like, oh my God, when am I going to fit this into my entire job? It's going to make your job better. It's going to make it easier. It's going to let people discover you, because everybody wants to buy. No one wants to be sold. This is the way forward. Watch the KPIs. You can keep them in an Excel file, or you can use a service like Shield AI. Shield is a new analytics for personal profile pages, because analytics don't exist really, are scant and nascent on personal profiles on LinkedIn. So you can use Shield, and it will track your best performing posts, whether they're personal, whether they're authenticity, whether they're behind the scenes, whether they're value, whether they're engagement posts, and you can learn and get better, because that's all we all are on this planet to do. So that is the end of the presentation. There's so much more. Thank you. Thank you. There's so much more. I'm sure you could feel the energy coming off of me. There's so much more that I could say about this. I could talk for 24 hours, and almost every point that we talked about, we could have an hour-long seminar on. Does anyone have any questions that they want to ask while the room is here? Go. Okay. The question was, does having a picture matter, or a video, or I'm making your question bigger. So what's the best kind of post? And does it matter whether you have a picture or if it's only text? 1 photograph plus text is the best performing posts. Hundreds of accounts that we have access to. That's the best performing post. Videos, I do a video every day. Videos, I post a video every day. Videos get far fewer people watching. You must always put captions on, because half the time they're at their desk and they don't want to disturb the gal next to them or the guy next to them, right? They get far fewer views, but the people who view them convert to becoming your business partner much more, at a much higher percentage rate than people who don't. So even though the KPIs, even though the analytics on videos are not going to be as impressive, you're not going to get 16,000 views on a video, you are going to find that they convert at a much higher rate, so they're valuable. But picture plus text is the best performing. Okay, the question was, can we use the same posts on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and LinkedIn? You can, but I don't talk to my 11-year-old the way I talk to my husband, because that'd be weird. You know, you gotta think of your audience at all times, right? Well, his question was, I get a lot of requests from people that I don't know. Should I accept them or not? The whole point is to initiate and deepen. So deepen, you already know them. Initiate and deepen relationships online. And I do believe LinkedIn even says, like, don't connect with someone you don't already know. Well, that's why you're commenting on their posts first, if you're the one. But if somebody comes to me, and like the 10,097 or whatever we're at right now, the people who come to me, if they have a genuine photograph, they're in a genuine, and you know how I said you can smell inauthenticity from a mile away? You can smell the ones who are like, hi, nice, like to work with you. I'm like, no, because I'm not here to be spammed, and you're not playing at my level, and we're not gonna get along. at all. We're not going to have value to one another, and you're not going to get what I get already, so no. So look at them, make a decision, and that needs to be part of the time that you spend, those requests. I say, you want to say yes to everyone with a whole bunch of caveats. If they look fake, there are fake profiles. If it looks like a J.Crew model, it probably is not there. I know, Doug, yours does, but so it likely is somebody who's just doing a fake profile and trying to gather information or fish or like, so if it's a supermodel, if it's a busty sexual looking, no, don't follow them. If they're trying to spam you, hi, I do silver jewelry and you're a retailer, no, they're not playing at your level, right? So take a look and make a decision. But the whole point of the game is to develop new relationships. And then you can unfollow people, you can unconnect with people. If their content doesn't jive with you, block them. You have the ability to block at all times. Yes, that's super important. Somebody asked me about that the other day too and said, oh, Elle, we can't see your network. And I was like, I know. I worked hard, 6 posts a day, man, until the KPIs started going down. When that 1,500 people who view my post every whatever, or view my profile, it starts going down, we go, maybe we'll do 5. Maybe we do 4, and then we'll see they started going back up. Okay, maybe we'll try 5 again, right? So you gotta watch. You are not responsible if you are not responsive to the analytics that you are paying attention to. Follow everybody unless they look spammy or dumb or fake or connect. Yes? Oh, and send a note. Yeah, of course, send a note, especially if they seem valuable, right? So thank you guys very much for coming to this.
Like that video, you're gonna love the next one. It's full of our expertise and tips on diamonds, gemstones, and jewelry, growing your top line revenue and business strategy. Just click on the link, subscribe, and hit the bell button so that you'll be notified of our next videos and give us a like. Bye for now.